Here's a little what it looks like up in the northern Midwest at this time. This is our third snow, about our second major one. There's my sad little green car, and cars on my parking area. Little cover over there. There's that church that I've talked about in a previous video. There's a car driving by. There's some there's a tree defoliated. Okay, I'm gonna set this back in here. Just get a little bit of scenery. Let's see. Get this guy back in here. Here we go. I'm sometimes outside because this kind of lighting is better than inside once it gets dark, so I do videos out here, and it's a change of scenery. This is an indirect response in that it's not attached to anything, and it's not connected to the video that I saw about Hypatia, and I didn't know much about her. She was a Greek philosopher, from what I understand, from Alexandria, and was very famous. She was just at the beginning of the Dark Ages. She hated Christianity. And yet she was very, very well known. She was, excuse me, basically accused of teaching what should be done away with in the thinking of the people who killed her. Her death basically entered into the Dark Ages, where the Christian church was predominant in whatever form you want to call that. So that got me thinking, and I thought that this was a post-papal period in the 400s, when the church was taking off and also landing. The Pope had taken over. He started a sect called Roman Catholicism. I apologize if I offend anybody with this. It's not to attack you, and it's what I truly believe. Many of the people who were involved with this were into superstitions and stuff like that. And there were power plays through the church. So this was considered the beginning of the Dark Ages and the end of the Greek philosophy ages, or Greek philosophical ages. And it was seen that reason, apparently much of the repository of philosophy that was written was destroyed. And she was killed. Her body burnt, and you get this stuff that I believe existed before Christianity. You can even see this in other cultures, where they will burn the body, even outside of Christianity, even outside of what's called Christian. I'm going to try to keep this to one video, because I know people don't, I think a lot of times people don't want to see multiple videos on one subject. The idea was that reason of the Greek sort against Christianity, and perhaps even pro-Christianity, was anti-Christianity in itself. It began the Dark Ages, a time of religion, a time of superstition, a time of a stranglehold on what was called the church by the papacy, by a superstitious attitude. Reason must be cast away and follow religion, and that religion was defined by people who couldn't, to put it bluntly, if you don't want to hear this, then this particular word, then skip forward, who couldn't give a damn. And so we see the Age of Enlightenment, and the Age of Enlightenment was, let's thrust out religion. The problem is, Paul, when he went to the Greeks during their age of philosophy, he spoke to them in a way that convinced them. To where I must say that it convinced them with their logic and their reason, with their education, with their indoctrination of whatever sort. Indoctrination is just a general word for teaching, but that's put forth. It's not an insult. He convinced them. So we see in the Renaissance an attitude, I think, driven by, for certain reasons that you have to look into. We must get rid of religion. Religion is evil. Religion is bad, which was completely different than the 1st century BC. It is manifest that God exists because of creation. That is reasonable, that is rational, and it does not mean you could come up with arguments that sound rational in opposition to that. The Christian religion is worth examining at the very least, because Jesus of Nazareth proposed ideas that were revolutionary, that, as far as I know, and what little I know about the major religions, and I'll get to why the major religions are more important, was not put forth. Outside of perhaps Judaism, which Christianity is considered a growth off of. For whether that's true or not, that's not the issue. It's considered growth off of it. If you look into it, Jewish prophecy was fulfilled in many respects. He put forth philosophies and ideals that included God, which Buddhism does not include God per se. Strict Buddhism, from what I understand, is not supposed to necessarily worship anything, but is supposed to regard life. Islam does what's wrong to its neighbor. That leaves us with Christianity and Judaism. If Christianity is a fulfillment of Judaism, then it makes sense that Christianity is the answer. If not, then it makes sense Judaism is the answer. If the propositions in Christianity, which I believe, answer the problem of man, who denies there's a problem, denies that people are evil. This may actually be 2 videos anyway, I'm sorry. I do my best. People who deny that there is evil in the world, deny that there is a God in the world. This is absurdity and aversion or part of it, of absolute insanity.